In the bustling heart of Washington, D.C., amid a sea of protesters and the cacophony of chants for justice and reform, stands Michael Richardson. Clad in a crisp suit with a red MAGA hat, Michael's presence is an anomaly in this crowd. His attire speaks of conservative values, often at odds with the messages on the placards around him. Yet, here he is, a federal judge known for his stringent adherence to the law, now surrounded by those who often feel let down by that very system. Michael had not planned to join the protest. His route from the courthouse took him alongside the march, his curiosity piqued and a rare afternoon free compelling him to observe. But as he watches, he sees beyond the signs and slogans, recognizing the deep-seated grievances aired by citizens young and old, from diverse backgrounds, all united in their call for change. As he moves closer to listen to a speaker, a scuffle breaks out nearby. A young protester, caught in a tangle with law enforcement, struggles as handcuffs are forced on with unnecessary harshness. The scene is tense, with onlookers shouting for the officers to ease up, their pleas mingling with the protesters' cries of pain. Without a moment's hesitation, Michael steps forward, his judge's instincts kicking in, driven by a commitment to justice and fairness. "Let's maintain some calm, please." His authoritative voice cuts through the noise, his approach cautious but firm. The officers, spotting his MAGA hat but not his face, scoff at his intervention. "Back off, buddy. Unless you want to join him," one snaps dismissively, mistaking Michael for a typical agitator rather than an ally. The irony of their mockery isn't lost on him. Here he is, a champion of the law, now seen as its adversary. Unperturbed, Michael continues, "I'm only suggesting you handle that young man without causing harm. There's a way to ensure everyone's safety here," he reasons, his tone balanced but insistent. The protester, now noticing Michael's intervention, looks up in confusion and relief, his expression mingling skepticism with a flicker of hope. The standoff draws more attention, and the air is thick with tension. Bystanders begin recording the incident, their phones held high, capturing every word, every gesture. Michael's intervention slows the officers for a moment, their actions now under scrutiny, their demeanor cooling just enough to ease the young man's distress. But little did they know, this encounter would change everything, the narrator hints, as whispers ripple through the crowd, questioning the identity of the man in the MAGA hat standing up for the protester. Michael's unexpected role at this protest, his identity obscured by his political symbol, sets the stage for a profound exploration of assumptions, integrity, and the potential for unexpected alliances in the quest for justice. As the tension slightly eases due to Michael's intervention, a young woman with a camera slung around her neck pushes through the crowd toward the confrontation. Dressed in a simple, worn leather jacket and jeans, her appearance is that of an average protester, but her eyes are sharp and observant, missing nothing. Her name is Lisa, a freelance photojournalist known for capturing crucial moments of civil unrest and police interactions. "Excuse me, sir," Lisa addresses Michael with a respectful tone, her camera still pointed toward the action. "Your intervention was brave. Mind if I get a few words? It's not every day we see someone in a MAGA hat standing up like this." Michael turns to her, his initial wariness fading as he meets her earnest gaze. "Of course," he replies, intrigued by her direct approach and the clear sincerity in her voice. As they step slightly away from the chaos, Lisa quickly checks her camera settings before raising it to capture Michael's image, framing him against the backdrop of the ongoing protest. "What brought you here today? And why step in?" she asks, her voice steady, capturing not just his image but his essence in the moment. Michael explains his accidental presence and his reasons for intervening, emphasizing his commitment to justice, regardless of the setting. "It's about fairness, about ensuring we all follow the rules meant to protect us," he says earnestly. Lisa nods, listening intently. Her manner is unassuming, yet her questions are poignant, cutting to the heart of the issue. "Do you think your presence here, dressed as you are, changes how people perceive your actions?" The question catches Michael off guard, prompting him to consider his own role and image in such a charged environment. The interaction makes him reflect on the power of symbols and perceptions, and how they can both bridge and divide. As they talk, Lisa's respectful yet probing style allows Michael to open up more than he expected. Around them, the protest continues, but in this small bubble, a meaningful exchange unfolds. Suddenly, another shout from the crowd draws their attention. An older protester has tripped and fallen, the crowd too dense for him to get up safely. Without hesitation, Lisa puts down her camera and rushes to assist, her actions swift and confident. Michael follows, helped by her example, and together they help the man to his feet, checking if he's unharmed. "Thank you," the older man mutters, looking between his two unexpected helpers. "Didn't expect to be on the ground today." Lisa smiles, dusting off her knees as she picks up her camera again. "It's all about helping where we can, right?" she says, turning to Michael. Sometimes the camera has to wait. This simple act of kindness, paired with her skilled questioning earlier, shifts Michael's perception of Lisa from just another member of the press to a formidable and compassionate individual whose humility belies her significant abilities. Her dual role as both observer and participant in the events of the day challenges and expands Michael's understanding of the many ways one can contribute to and document the unfolding history around them. As the protest continues, Michael's interactions with Lisa and the protesters bring an array of conflicting emotions and challenges to the surface. Internally, Michael grapples with feelings of guilt and dissonance. Despite his position as a federal judge, he is confronted with the stark reality that the justice system he represents doesn't always align with the principles of fairness and protection he deeply values. His unexpected role in today's events highlights this discord between his professional identity and his personal beliefs. Externally, the crowd's reactions to Michael's involvement fluctuate. Some protesters, having witnessed his actions, nod in respect or offer a cautious smile his way. Others, however, remain skeptical or outright hostile, their shouts and signs accusing the system he stands for of oppression and injustice. Michael feels the weight of these accusations, understanding that his presence in a MAGA hat might symbolize opposition to the very causes the crowd fights for, despite his actions today. Lisa, ever observant, captures not only the moments of confrontation and solidarity, but also the quieter, more personal struggles playing out within Michael. Her lens is unobtrusive yet probing, and her presence becomes a mirror in which Michael sees his own complexities reflected back at him. The turning point comes when a particularly heated exchange erupts near them. A group of younger protesters confronts Michael directly, their words sharp and accusing. "How can you stand there in that hat and claim you're with us?" one demands, his voice thick with emotion. "You're part of the problem, judge or not." Michael, shaken, tries to respond, to explain his commitment to justice, but his words falter under the intensity of their gaze. It's Lisa who steps in, her voice calm but firm. "He stepped in to help today, didn't he?" she challenges the group. "Maybe it's not about the hat or the title, but what he did when it mattered." Her defense of Michael, unexpected yet sincere, gives him a moment to regroup and reassess his position and purpose here. This confrontation forces Michael to confront the reality that symbols and perceptions powerfully shape actions and attitudes. He begins to question whether his public persona as a judge and his political affiliations effectively communicate his true intentions and values. Later, as the protest winds down, Lisa and Michael find a quiet spot away from the remaining crowds. "You really put yourself on the line for me back there," Michael says, gratitude mingling with a newfound respect in his tone. Lisa shrugs, packing away her camera. "I call it like I see it. Today I saw someone who cared enough to do something. That's worth something, isn't it?" Her simple yet profound observation strikes a chord in Michael. He realizes that actions indeed speak louder than affiliations or attire, but also acknowledges the complexity of navigating a world rife with preconceptions and deeply entrenched divides. This realization marks a pivotal moment in Michael's journey. He commits to reevaluating how he can more effectively bridge the gap between his professional authority and his personal convictions to advocate for justice in ways that transcend political or societal expectations. Inspired by Lisa's candidness and the courage she displayed, both behind and in front of the lens, Michael leaves the protest with a renewed sense of purpose and a deepened understanding of his role both in and out of the courtroom. This shift sets the stage for broader changes in his life, where he will seek to align his actions more closely with his values, ensuring that his impact is felt not only through his judicial decisions but also in his everyday interactions and commitments. As the days following the protest turned into weeks, Michael Richardson found himself deeply introspective, reflecting on the catalytic events that unfolded during the demonstration. The images captured by Lisa, displaying moments of confrontation, support, and his active participation, had gone viral, sparking widespread discussions both online and within his professional circles. The photos served as a powerful visual testament to Michael's commitment to justice, seen from a perspective that many of his colleagues and critics had never considered. Compelled by these reflections and inspired by Lisa's advocacy, Michael began to initiate changes both in his personal approach and professional life as a judge. He organized a series of forums titled Justice for All, bringing together law enforcement, community leaders, activists, and citizens to openly discuss the systemic issues highlighted by the protests. These forums were designed not only to bridge gaps, but to forge a path forward through mutual understanding and concerted action. Lisa, on her part, continued to document these forums, her camera always present, capturing the challenging yet crucial conversations that unfolded. Over time, she and Michael developed a partnership based on mutual respect and a shared commitment to truth and reform. Michael valued her insights and often consulted her on how best to engage with the community, recognizing her unique ability to capture the human elements of these complex issues. Michael also took a more hands-on approach within the judicial system, advocating for reforms that would ensure fairer treatment across all levels of the legal process. He worked on developing training programs for judges and court staff, focusing on bias recognition and the importance of empathy in the judicial process. His experiences at the protest had shown him the importance of understanding the community's struggles and perspectives, and he was determined to incorporate these lessons into his practice. One of the most significant changes Michael implemented was the introduction of community impact statements during sentencing, allowing community members to share how the crime affected them and what they believed would best serve the community's needs in terms of justice and rehabilitation. This initiative was a direct result of his conversations with Lisa and the protesters, who emphasized the need for a justice system that listened to and valued the voices of its citizens. Meanwhile, Lisa's career flourished as her work gained recognition for its impactful and empathetic portrayal of social issues. Her exhibitions, often featuring images from the protests and the subsequent forums, toured nationally, sparking further dialogue about the need for systemic change. Michael attended every opening, supporting her work and using these opportunities to further advocate for judicial and community reforms. The culmination of their efforts was reflected in a significant decrease in community police tensions in the area, credited largely to the transparency and dialogue facilitated by the forums. Both the community and the police reported feeling more understood and supported, leading to cooperative efforts aimed at reducing crime and improving community relations. At the final exhibition of Lisa's tour, Michael delivered a speech that encapsulated their journey. "We've seen change," he began, "real, tangible change that started with a single act of understanding at a protest. It doesn't take dramatic gestures to bridge the divide. It takes consistent, honest effort and the willingness to see beyond our assumptions." He continued, acknowledging Lisa's crucial role in his transformation. "Lisa showed us that change often comes from where you least expect it, through a lens, a question, or a simple act of kindness. She has taught us all to look a little deeper and reach a little further." As they stood together, surrounded by photos depicting their shared journey, it was clear that both had grown immeasurably. Michael had transformed from a judge who upheld the law to one who actively worked to make it fairer and more compassionate. Lisa had evolved from a photojournalist documenting events to a pivotal figure in shaping those events through her art. Their story, a testament to the power of unexpected alliances and the impact of individual actions on broader societal change, left a lasting impression on all who followed their journey. Through their experiences, they demonstrated that true progress requires not just understanding the law or the story, but actively participating in the narrative of change, creating a legacy of justice, empathy, and reform that would inspire others for generations to come. As the evening wrapped up at Lisa's final exhibition, Michael and Lisa took a moment to step aside from the celebratory crowd, finding a quieter space near one of the large windows overlooking the city. The images of their shared experiences line the walls, each photograph telling a story of challenge, change, and unity. Michael looked out at the city, the lights twinkling like stars grounded to the earth, a stark contrast to the peacefulness of their secluded corner. He turned to Lisa, his expression one of contemplative gratitude. You know, when I first stepped into that protest, I never imagined where it would lead. Not just the changes in the community or the system, but the change within myself. Lisa smiled, her eyes reflecting the soft gallery lights. It's funny how life throws these moments at us, she replied. We think we're just passing through, but really we're right where we need to be. Your courage that day, stepping in when it was easier not to, that was the beginning of something much bigger than either of us. Michael nodded, his gaze drifting back to one of the photos. A moment captured between him and a young protester, both teaching and learning from each other. It's been an incredible journey, from the streets to these walls, and into the rooms where policies and futures are decided. We've started conversations that needed to happen and brought voices to the forefront that were too often ignored. Exactly, Lisa added, her voice soft yet firm. And if there's one thing I've seen through my lens, it's that these connections, these moments of understanding and compassion, are what really drive change. It's not just about making noise. It's about making a difference. The moral of their story was clear and resonant. It wasn't about the accolades or even the visible changes they had helped foster. It was about the power of human connection and the profound impact of stepping into someone else's world with kindness and humility. It was a testament to the idea that anyone, regardless of their background or beliefs, has the potential to be an agent of change. As guests continued to mingle and reflect on the exhibition, Michael and Lisa's conversation lingered in the air, a reminder of the journey still ahead. Let's keep this going, Michael said, a resolve in his voice that matched the determination in Lisa's eyes. Let's ensure that this is just the beginning. Their partnership, forged in the fire of societal upheaval and quenched in the waters of mutual respect and shared goals, stood as a beacon of hope. As the night drew to a close, the stories captured in Lisa's photographs and the paths they charted forward promised that the lessons learned would ripple outwards, inspiring others to believe in the power of empathy, the strength of diversity, and the unyielding light of shared humanity.